Yo, what's up, y'all? It's your favorite rapper, Billy or B Sizzle, whichever you prefer. And today we're checking out Growing Up Without Cable by TheOdd1sOut. Now, I've been making Jaden reactions recently, I know, but I decided to go ahead and take a look back at the TheOdd1sOut channel. I know he's been posting some recently, but I haven't seen a lot of his recent posts. So, this is a really old video, actually. It was made like 4 or 5, 6 something years ago. Maybe probably even 10 years ago, like some videos from grade A under A, but we're not going to go ahead and talk about him right now. We're going to go ahead and talk about the TheOdd1sOut for right now. So, as you guys probably know, growing up in the 90s, they didn't really have cable yet. They had cable in back in my day in the 2000s, but no, not right now, BB gun. But anyways, yeah. In the 90s, children didn't really have any cable to watch. So they had to like go ahead and find a different way to entertain themselves by playing outside. And in the 2000s, that's when cable started to become popularized and used way more often. So like that's basically what this video is about. And if there and the shows that played in the early 2000s where I was born. So if you guys like reactions like this, be sure to like, subscribe, turn on the post notification bell. This video will be in the description, and don't forget to subscribe to the TheOdd1sOut. And without further ado, let's begin.
Imagine if Netflix, YouTube, and Hulu never existed. What would you be watching right now?
Nothing.
Would you be watching this? I don't think so.
No.
You'd be watching this box right here. A television? On this
Television.
device, instead of picking what you wanted to watch and when you wanted to watch it, the television would decide all that for you. And
Yeah.
instead of watching a single 5-second skippable ad in the beginning, you'd have to watch 5 30-second long unskippable ads. Can you think of anything more annoying? An advertisement right in the middle of...
Like, I used to watch TV when I was 10 and 11, but I don't really watch TV as much as I used to, because when I turned 13, I got my cell phone, and when I turned 13, I launched this channel right here on August 5th, 2017. At that time, I was 13, and I just got my first cell phone, and it was a track phone. Those sucked, by the way. You had a limited amount of minutes that you can use to call people, and one time I stayed on my phone with my best friend for 5 hours, bruh. I think I upgraded at that time because I only got 240 something minutes every month, but my brother had to go ahead and refresh my minutes every month so that I could actually make calls and stay in contact with my grandparents and everything like that along with him. But that was so annoying, man. I had to wait to get minutes, bruh. Like, that was so annoying. Like, man. And then having COVID in 2022, yeah, that was terrible. That was terrible, too. Like, man, all this, bruh.
middle of your show? I don't know if my parents are being cheap or trying to discourage an unhealthy habit of watching too much TV, but growing up, my parents didn't have cable television at all in the house. Now, in this modern day and age of online content, some of you are living perfectly content lives without cable. I know I am. But you have to understand, in the early 2000s, online video wasn't a thing. Yeah, YouTube was created in 2005, but what did that have? This guy at a zoo? That's lame. So being an early 2000s...
He's an early 2000s kid, so am I. For people who don't know, I was born in 2004, and some of my friends were like born a little bit later. But yeah, man, I'm an early 2000s kid. Like, I can literally name a couple of shows that I've heard of that probably did come back and come out in my day. SpongeBob was like released in like the 1970s, and let's go ahead and also say Courage the Cowardly Dog. I think that was made in like 2002, but I wasn't born yet. Let's see. Caillou was on PBS Kids. I'm not sure when that came out. I'm pretty sure like around 2010 or 2011. Maybe somewhere sooner than that, but I don't know. I don't really remember. Word Girl. Oh my god, I was obsessed with Word Girl when I was 9 years old, bruh. And he's gonna get into PBS Kids in a little bit, but he doesn't mention War Girl. He just mentions all kinds of other shows that are on PBS Kids. He'll get to that in a minute though. But I would literally watch Work Girl nonstop when I was 9 and 10. And when I was 10, I got my first computer. When I was 13, I got my first cell phone. I don't really watch a lot of stuff from PBS Kids anymore because, like, I'm 20 and I'm going to be turning 21 in September, so I don't really need to. But, yeah, I'm an early 2000s kid as well.
Thousands kid, you had to get your cartoons through the TV. And if your
Yeah.
parents didn't pay $65 a month to get cable, then you didn't get the channels with SpongeBob, Jimmy Neutron, or Courage the Cowardly Dog. The only thing you got.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to go ahead and say Courage the Cowardly Dog was made in, like, 2002. I think I already said that. But I also remember, like, Jimmy Neutron and Fairly Odd Parents. Those were also, like, classic Nickelodeon shows before they got moved to Nicktoons HD. But they were actually really good shows. I liked them, but I liked Fairly Odd Parents way more than I liked Jimmy Neutron. I also liked SpongeBob the best, and Mom said that when she first watched SpongeBob, his laugh made her uncomfortable. But that's actually really funny. I still laugh at it.
You got was this green brother and sister called PBS Kids.
Yeah.
And whatever these things were. PBS Kids stands for Public Broadcasting Service. Kids. That meant all the shows on PBS Kids were government or privately funded. So the shows on PBS didn't really have any commercials per se, but they did have the same sponsorship ads that would play a message before every show. If you grew up on PBS Kids, then Juicy Juice and Where a Kid Can Be a Kid is just engraved in your memory. And also, every show...
I know what A Kid Can Be a Kid is. That's Chuck E. Cheese, and freaking Juicy Juice. I don't remember seeing ads like that back in like 2013 and 14, but I do remember Where a Kid Can Be a Kid always playing within my mind because they would constantly play the Chuck E. Cheese advertisement. Like, I didn't really care. I just cared that I was actually getting my favorite shows at the time. But when I stayed with my mom's boyfriend, I didn't really watch PBS Kids anymore. I just like watched whatever my mom wanted to watch, like the Cosby Show. Cosby Show, favorite live action reality show of all time. I'm gonna move the tablet a little bit in within the frame, but the Cosby Show was one of my favorites. You know, like Bill. This was way before the accusations of him being a predator came in. Like, I'm not sure he's a rapist, but that's what people say anyway. I don't really believe that. I'm not even sure if it's true, but you know what? I'm gonna let you guys decide for your own. Alright, let's keep going.
Show would thank you, the viewer, for watching, and I think that's really nice.
They definitely thanked me
watching this,
multiple times.
You're welcome. I'm kinda glad my parents didn't buy cable, because instead of spending hours of my time watching mindless television, I spent hours of my time watching television with morals and math. Yep, a lot of shows on PBS were either educational or taught you how to be a good person.
Work Girl was definitely one of them. Because whenever Work Girl was on screen, she would go ahead and define something so many times like she was a freaking dictionary. That sometimes annoyed me, but also amused me when I was young, because like I was really surprised that she was actually a walking, talking dictionary. Like, bruh, who knows the dictionary by heart, man? I certainly didn't. I still don't.
The shows I'm going to mention had pretty crazy concepts, but the conflicts in each episode were very down-to-earth and slice-of-life-y, almost like the shows were made for children. Like in Clifford the Big Red Dog. It's a show about this girl's dog who grew up to be the size of a freaking house for no reason, except for the fact that the girl loved the dog so much that he grew up to be a monster. So that means if your dog is normal-sized, you don't love it enough.
That's funny. But I do remember watching Clifford, actually. Like, I would sometimes come home from school and watch Clifford for like a few hours until it was time to eat or something, and then my mom's boyfriend would pick whatever he wanted to watch. Like, mainly Michigan basketball. I think it was like Michigan college basketball. I don't remember what college it was called, but we would mainly watch basketball because told him that I liked basketball, but he didn't know that I didn't know I would be watching it constantly. But you know what? To each their own, bruh. You can watch whatever you want, man.
And it probably doesn't love you. So, yeah, a giant red dog is a pretty weird premise, but the episodes were about everyday things. Like this blue dog feels bad that he tore up his owner's sweater, and his friends tell him to just be honest, and he does, and everyone's happy. Or the episode where this new dog moves into town, but he's missing a leg, and then Clifford and his friends have to learn that having 3 legs still means you can accomplish a lot of things any normal human can do.
Yeah.
I mean, dog. And I rate this show a 10 out of 10. Next is Dragon Tales, the show that made dragons kid-friendly. There's Orgy's the big...
I never seen this one, though. I know Clifford, but not this one, man. I haven't seen this one at all when I was young. If I did, then I obviously missed it.
Biggest, not so brave of heart. There's Cassie, she's so shy, but so very smart. There's Zack and Wheezy and their tales of fun. Cause you know 2 heads are better than 1. Dragon Tales, it's almost time for Dragon Tales. The show was pretty similar to Clifford. The characters would spend an episode learning everyday things like how to do a cartwheel, or they would try to make it rain so they could show their friend what a rainbow looks like. And there was also this grandpa dragon who knew Spanish for some reason.
Don't come too close, niños.
And that wasn't the weirdest thing on the show, actually. There was also a dragon character in a wheelchair, which, just like Clifford, is a good character because it teaches kids that disabled people are still people who can accomplish a lot of things.
I'm a disabled person. Like, I'm not physically disabled, I'm mentally disabled. But you guys get it, right? People can still accomplish things even if they do have a few, like, handicaps on them or something like that. Like, I don't have a handicap. I'm just made like that. But I'm like, I have a job where I make a lot, and that shows you how much I accomplish, man. I accomplish that every day, 5 to 6 days a week, man. A lot of money just for me.
But I think it's a weird combination of 2 things. A dragon, a mythical beast known for destroying cities, in a wheelchair? If you wanted to stop a dragon from destroying your city, then you just don't install wheelchair ramps anywhere. I should stop talking. I rate this show a 10 out of 10. Now let's talk about Arthur. Here's some fun trivia. Arthur is supposed to be an aardvark. Personally, I don't see it. Basically, it was...
I do remember Arthur, and I've only seen like 3 episodes because I didn't like it. I don't know why I didn't like Arthur. Probably because I thought DW was annoying, but still. I liked the intro, I just didn't like the show by itself. Because I'm not sure why. I don't remember why. I just remember not liking the show. But I do remember Arthur. I definitely remember Arthur.
It was a show about Arthur and his other furry friends learning lessons, but Arthur tended to tackle more serious subjects than the other 2 shows. Like, they have episodes where DW hears her parents get in a fight and she worries about them getting a divorce, or the episode where Arthur Falcon punches his little sister, and even having to deal with someone you know getting cancer.
What? Cancer?
The character gets treatment and lives, by the way, because it's a kid's show. 10 out of 10. Next, let's talk about my favorite show on PBS.
Well, it's still like, you can still get treatment for cancer and live, but it's sometimes, it's mostly like very effective most of the time. Sometimes, hang on guys. Alright, sorry about that guys, my grandma was calling me, but anyways, yeah. Let's just keep going.
PBS Kids. Cyberchase. Cyberchase,
oh yeah, I remember this one, guys. I remember this one, man.
we're beating Hacker at his game. Don't tell me that won't get him every time. This show didn't teach kids morals or how to properly treat the disabled. It taught them something far more important. Math. Cyberchase is set inside a virtual computer world, and this one character named Motherboard was supposed to be the queen/protector of this world, but she sucks at her job because the villain of the show, Christopher Lloyd, infects her with a virus. So now these three kids have to go on adventures using math principles to thwart the bad guy's plans to save Mommyboard. Motherboard? Motherboard? Mommy? Mom, come back, Mommy, no.
Was that supposed to be 3 plus 3 or 3 times 3? Because 3 times 3 is 9. 3 plus 3 is 6. So I don't know if they're trying to be like clueless or something, or they're just actually dumb. But the voice actors really need to learn math again. They really need to go back to elementary school.
We need to save Mommyboard. And unlike all the other shows, this show had an overarching story. The kids would always get this close to saving Motherboard, but nothing they did worked. When I was a kid, I always wondered how much longer it would be until they finally saved her. And they never did. The show's been going on for 16 years, and they're still learning new math principles trying to save Motherboard. I think they're at calculus at this point.
Ha. Probably even algebra functions, but not even what I know. I do know most of algebra, but I don't really understand calculus that much. But anyways, that show's been going on since 2002. What? That show's been going on for at least like I don't know, 23 years now. That's 23 freaking years, man. And they're not that old. They're not that old, man. They're not.
The show is teaching you slower than an actual school. What kind of a show makes you wait 16 years for a conclusion? Cyberchase does, and it's one of the best shows ever created. 10 out of 10. One last show I want to bring up is called Caillou. All you need to know about Caillou...
Oh my god, I remember this one too. He's the most spoiled kid on the entire channel, man. Like, for real. I would get tired of him, bruh.
Is that I hate him. Caillou is a 4-year-old and a demon. He constantly throws a tantrum whenever he doesn't get his way. Even in his theme song, he mentions how much of a brat he is. Growing up is not so tough, except when I've had enough. And then he's crying like a child. Well, you're gonna have to grow up, Caillou. The world doesn't revolve around you. Now you might be thinking, James, this kid is 4 years old. Of course he's gonna be a brat. And I agree, but a big problem with Caillou isn't the fact that he's a brat, but it's with his spineless parents. Caillou's mom just lets him get away with everything. Whenever I misbehaved, you know what happened to me? I had to go sit in the timeout corner. You know what happens to Caillou? Nothing! Not once does Caillou ever get punished. It's always his mom just being like, Caillou, what you said wasn't very nice. Now go behave, okay? 0.
I have to go ahead and ask, how has he been bald the entire time? That's something I never really understood. How was he bald the whole time, bruh? 4-year-olds usually have hair on their head by that age. Like, for real, how was he bald the entire time? Oh.
4 out of 10 with the show with just the humans. I hate it. I just realized that all the shows I mentioned were animated, but there was a lot of non-animated shows that I still watched. But whatever, I could just say that these shows fit the theme of my channel. Or I could make a part 2, I can do whatever I want. Now, as a die-hard PBS fanboy, I think I speak for everyone when I say that what PBS was missing was a crossover episode. How hard would it have been for the Clifford people and the Dragon Tales people to coordinate an episode where the 3-legged dog finds the dragon scale, he could dig it up out of the sand because dogs like to dig, except this dog wouldn't be that good at digging, and then he would meet up with the wheelchair dragon and they could be best friends. I would have loved that. As much as I'm joking about it, as a kid, I actually really wanted a crossover episode between the shows Clifford and Clifford's Puppy Days, which is another show that follows Clifford before he was interesting, when he was tiny.
I think PBS Kids actually did do a crossover episode, but I don't know which ones they did it with. I'm pretty sure, I don't really remember, but I do know one infamous, like, freaking Nickelodeon crossover. Actually, yeah, Nickelodeon did a few crossovers too. They did a crossover with Jimmy Neutron and the Fairly Odd Parents. Jimmy versus Timmy, I think it was. I really didn't like that. I didn't really like Jimmy Neutron to begin with. I just liked Fairly Odd Parents. I liked Fairly Odd Parents just as much as I liked SpongeBob, to be honest.
So, before Emily Elizabeth loved him, so there was a bunch of new characters that all knew Clifford when he was little, and the two shows existed in the same universe, so it wouldn't have been that unbelievable for Clifford to visit his childhood home, and then all the other characters who used to call him Small or Squirt would see him now and be like, wow! What the f*** happened to you? You see, it's funny because it's a kid's show and you wouldn't expect them to say that. I waited patiently for that crossover episode, but it never came.
Happened.
But at least I have fanfiction. George, he wagged his tail and smiled. Clifford, it's so good to see you.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip this part, bro. And yeah, that's the end of the video right there. I don't really know what that last part was, but I think it was just like a little fan fiction there that he wrote, I guess. But you know what? I'm not going to question it. This video is already long enough. So, that's going to do it for this time's reaction. If you guys want to see more videos like this, go ahead and smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. Like this video and subscribe to the channel if you would like to see more reactions. Also, be sure to subscribe to TheOdd1sOut. Let's see if we can get him to 22 million subscribers. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.